I have a feeling for some reason the camera is like so bright, like I just blended with the wall. But anyways, doesn't matter. Welcome back to another video, bro. In this video, I want to touch on the topic and I want to speak about how there's invisible limiting beliefs that you think that you don't have, which is affecting your discipline, your daily output, your consistency, and pretty much your journey to becoming great and your journey to becoming successful, exceptional, whatever word you want to put your name to it, put the word towards whatever you want to achieve. There are limiting beliefs that you probably don't see, and I didn't realize for so damn long, which was the reason that I was doing really like I was wondering, like sometimes I would wonder, why am I not moving towards my goals? Why am I like falling off here, or why am I not able to work hard, or why am I not able to do this? Or the biggest one, why am I not able to have macro focus? And I would just sit there and wonder, why am I not able to have macro focus? Why? Because frankly, one of my biggest issues was macro focus, right? You may be going through the same thing where we have a struggle with staying consistent, especially when it comes to the long run. We have a struggle when it comes to like choosing a business model and telling ourselves that I can do this for 2 years without without changing it up, without quitting, without. That was my biggest issue. And this happened so many times. By the way, if you don't know me, I'm someone who went through the fake discipline, the no the like the, I call it the purgatory stage of self-improvement, right? And I'm still in the stage, honestly. I'm not like so much ahead. However, I was in a stage where I was just doing fake work. I was barely able to work, but I was telling everyone I was on self-improvement, right? I was in that stage of like fakeness, losing my potential. And now that I look back at that self, I was just like, what am I doing? Like, what are you doing? Like, like, bro, like, I was wasting my time. I was wasting everything. And everyone was wondering, like, is this kid okay? Is this kid getting results? Because, for example, my parents knew that I was presumably starting a business. A lot of people around me, they knew that I was doing a business, but like, there was no results to show up for it because I wasn't pushing myself. I actually wasn't doing the real work that was needed. I was just pretend, pretending, right? So, either way, going back to the thing, the reason why I would pretend and the reason why I would not have macro focus was because of an underlying issue, which was one of my limiting beliefs that I've had. It's absolutely crazy, bro. It's crazy, right? If I knew these limiting beliefs, if I figured out these limiting beliefs, I would have not have to go through another year of just fakeness. And I want to save you that time. So I want to touch on this topic a little bit. I hope you're patient enough to sit with me because my entire point of this video, my entire mission of this video is to help you find those limiting beliefs which you don't realize are holding you back like crazy, right? For me, one of my biggest limiting beliefs was the idea of quitting, especially quitting too fast. That was a big issue of mine. I would quit like no tomorrow. I would quit like no tomorrow. For example, I was always that kid with all the potential, like with all the potential. When I'm telling you, like I was good at everything I was doing, and I was just killing in everything I was doing. I had all the freaking potential, but however, the thing that stopped that potential is what? My lack of being patient. I wasn't patient enough to stick through with the journey. I wasn't patient enough to see and to go through the dark times and to go through the purgatory stage and to go through like the invisible stage where you're not seeing results, where life feels like crap, where you're not getting the fruits of your labor per se. I was too on, I don't know, I just couldn't sit through that. And so what would happen growing up is I would be so good at, like, for example, sports like soccer, or I would be so good at things such as video games. I was freaking so sick at Fortnite. I was so good at these video games. And yet, however, despite me wanting to go professional in whatever I was touching, in terms of like games and like soccer and stuff like that, I would quit. I would quit. I would quit. And so now I developed this limiting belief in my head that when stuff gets hard, when something gets hard, I end up quitting. And that eventually did show up even after my self-improvement journey. When I started doing my first business, which was copywriting, it wasn't really a business because there was no money that came out of it, but I quit that. When it came to me doing other stuff, I quit that. When it came to me even doing YouTube videos, I would like midway quit the type of videos I was doing because I just couldn't see the results. So for me, it's like I wanted instant results. I wanted instant everything. I wanted things to be given to me. And even that came from my childhood because I was very privileged growing up. So I had this idea that I would just be given everything. I was never able to work hard for something. And yet I was that kid with all the freaking potential. So right now, I want you to look back at your childhood a little bit because I'm sure there's going to be something which you didn't realize is holding you back from your childhood experiences, such as quitting too early, and realizing, oh crap, damn, I just realized like I quit this business model without even going through the dark ages. Man, as someone who wants to achieve success, as someone who wants to become the best version of myself and live to my most capable self, live like a man with virtue, live like a man who's his highest self, his most strongest self. As someone who wants to do that, the worst thing you could do, the worst thing I did was go against that by quitting. A man never quits when it gets hard. A man never quits when it gets hard. A man goes forth and he keeps going until he reaches the top of the mountain. Doesn't matter if climbing the mountain is difficult, he still keeps going because that was the entire point. Climbing the mountain is supposed to be difficult, which is why most people never get to the peak. So, this was my biggest issue. This was 100% my biggest issue. Another issue that I had was the fact that I was impatient. I couldn't bear it. I wasn't patient enough. And this again came from my childhood. So these limiting beliefs formed and they came into where I am today, where I was 2 years ago, 1 year ago when it came to my self development journey. And another huge thing which I experienced growing up was the fact that I focused on fake work and fake work only. I used to be an imposter. I used to be, and I know I'm like exposing myself, but I want to be up in front and honest with you. I used to be an imposter. I used to be this guy pretending like I was doing the work when I wasn't. Meaning, again, I had the potential. However, when it came to specifically, I remember in grade 10 in high school, we had this one math teacher that everyone equally hated. However, I would pretend like I was like the studious guy. I would pretend like I studied for my test. Like my friends would ask me, like, "Did you study?" I was like, "Yeah, bro, I studied 10 hours, bro. Of course, I studied 10 hours." Did I really study 10 hours, bro? You would be hitting the jackpot if you said fifth, like, you if you said no. Obviously, I didn't study 10 hours, bro. I would be lucky if I did study 30 minutes. That was like rare for me. You know why? Because every single time I'll sit down pretending like I have a test tomorrow, but I'm gonna pretend like I'm studying. I would open the books, I would open the questions, I'll do a couple of questions, boom. Starts getting hard. My mind again wants to escape. The moment it gets something becomes hard, escape. The moment something becomes hard, escape. Where did I escape to? Somewhere where I felt comfortable. Video games. I felt comfortable in my Fortnite. I felt comfortable because I was dominating kids on Fortnite. I was going crazy on Fortnite. I was playing hours of Fortnite. I was good at it. That's why I went there. When I'm in a place where I'm not good at, when I'm in a place where I have the opportunity to learn and to grow and to become better, I wouldn't do that. Rather, I would run away. So then I would be wondering why I'm getting 50% on my school marks, 30%, sometimes 60% on my school marks. Very low marks. Why? Because I was doing fake work. Everyone thought I was studying. Everyone thought, yeah, bro, I think this kid studies. He goes to tutor. He goes to tutoring classes, like extra classes for school, and I was still failing. Same thing happened. Same exact thing. I would portray myself as someone, but I was never able to do the hard work. This belief also went inside of the belief of doing business. I would pretend. I used to be one of the biggest pretenders in business. I used to be this kid who would just act like he's this self improvement entrepreneur, Iman Gaji. I would wear like Iman Gaji clothing. Like I have a closet like over there. I can just see some of the clothing there, and I used to buy a lot of clothing before, and I can just see like some old money freaking old money polo t-shirts. Like it's something that Iman Gaji would wear. And I would pretend like I would post myself on Instagram, like pretending like I'm in, for example, I went to Dubai like in 2024 last year, and I would again wear his clothing. But then I'm this guy who barely made money from business anyway. So everyone would think, oh wow, like this kid is doing great. Honestly, deep down, I didn't have any accomplishments. So, and you know the reason why I didn't have accomplishments? Again, because I would portray the image of me doing the work, but when it came to doing the hard work on my laptop, they think I freaking did it. I didn't do it. I didn't do a single second of it, bro. I would just watch Andrew Tate, his what is called Tate Confidential. But that thing was fun to watch. But the issue is that replaced my deep work hours. I didn't do deep work. I would rather watch Tate Confidential, or I would do this. I would do some random freaking BS instead of doing what is actually needed to do, hard work. I was never capable. And so that was a belief that lingered into my head. So how do you now have these beliefs into your head? How do you break that belief away? How do you get it away from your head to like to get that? Well, I was reading the book Awaken the Giant Within by Tony Robbins. Amazing, phenomenal book. I recommend it to all of you boys, bro. I please go read that book. But in that book specifically, what Tony Robbins was saying, he said something. He talked about beliefs a lot, and he talked about how beliefs form. The way beliefs form is by this. You have a belief. Imagine your belief as a tabletop. Okay, so you can't really see it, but there's a table behind me. Imagine a tabletop. That's the belief. Imagine the things that strengthen the belief. So what strengthens the tabletop? The legs. Legs is what keeps it up. So your belief is a tabletop, and the things, your experiences, your life experiences, the information that you learned, your past references. That's what Tony Robbins calls it. References. Your references are like what strengthen the belief. The more references you have, the more information that strengthen the belief, or the more experiences that strengthen the belief, the stronger the table is. So for so many of us, we have a belief that we have this belief of not being capable since we weren't capable growing up. We have this belief of not working hard because we had that belief growing up. That's moving into your business. You're sitting at your desk and you're wondering, oh, why can't I get the work done? Yeah, because you have a limiting belief. You want to escape. You want to escape into uh wherever you want to escape to. It's a limiting belief that you don't realize that you have. So now, what are those references that are there? Okay, I'm trying, like, what are those references that you're dealing with right now? For example, you have the references. Okay, you know what? Your day to day could be reference, because every single day you've been sort of putting it off your work, and you've been doing half-past work, and most of the time you haven't been really pushing your output, which is why you're watching this video. Those are the references slash experiences which strengthen the belief that I'm not a hard worker. So it's because you have this belief, this leads to you not working hard, and because you're not working hard, this strengthens the belief originally. So it's just you're continuously re strengthening belief. You're playing against yourself. You're moving against yourself right now. So what you need to do is change that. What you need to do is get away from that and destroy this limiting belief in your head that you have by weakening the references. How do you weaken the references? By doing what is contrary to what the references are. If you've been not working hard and not pushing to your potential this entire time, figure out the reasons why you're not working hard and why you're not pushing to your potential. My biggest issue was watching content. I would be watching too much content. I would be running away in content. I would be just content, which would lead to me doing zero work, zero discipline, and I would be in my comfort zone all day. So, the moment I took away content, the moment I stopped watching this content that wasn't serving me, and I was more able to stick with myself and my brain, that's what happened. I started doing more work, and then the more I started doing, the more these reference legs got weaker, weaker, weaker. And then one day I just started working so hard. And then it was continuous. I started working more and more and more. Actually, 2 days ago, excuse me, yesterday, in fact, I hit a big burnout, because and it was the first burnout I've ever felt in my life, because this burnout happened because of the fact that I've been working hard, and I finally felt like a real burnout. Not the fake burnout that most people say, because most people, they have like fake burnouts. Like, I'm tired. That's not burnout. Burnout is when you forget the reason why you're even working in the first place. When you just have zero motivation, zero drive to get up. On a random day, when you've been doing well for like the last month, 2 months. So now I have this belief that yeah, I'm a hard worker. I've broken my beliefs that I'm not a hard worker anymore. Which then, because of a belief, because my belief is like I'm a hard worker, that reinforces every single time I work harder. I work so much harder. So understand and figure out what is the thing that's making you, have that belief that's wrong, and what's strengthening that belief. Like, what are you doing? Like, for example, what's making you not work right now? And then figure out that, fix that bit, get rid of that, weaken the legs by you working harder and you pursuing your self development and pushing yourself to the freaking max. Maybe create a new routine and stick to that routine. Create new habits, make those sacrifices, and change your identity. All right, change your identity. I'm telling you right now. If you want help changing your identity and whatever I mentioned, I made a video on YouTube. Check the comment section down, sorry, description down below. You can check it. It goes like it's like a mini guide of exactly how I transformed sort of my life in a way, how I became extremely ruthlessly consistent. How I became ruthlessly consistent and how I destroyed my fake self improvement. I'll leave that first link down in the description down below. Other than that, DM me on Instagram. I reply to all my DMs personally. If you have any questions, if you have anything, DM me the word accelerate, because then I know what the question that you have, and then hopefully we can converse, and I'll reply to your DM personally. Yeah. So other than that, thank you so much for watching this video, bro. Have a good one, and I hope this benefits you. Hope this helps you succeed and finds out and helps you find out your inner childhood to make sure that those beliefs are gone. All right, bro. I'll see you in the next one. All right, later. Peace.